Okay, our next game for the show is Jurassic Park, which was nominated by @GourdCaptain, who nominated it via a 5-star review. I think he did his on Stitcher because iTunes was not possible. But if you can't do iTunes, 5-star review on Stitcher is great. And just let us know that you did it on Twitter @GC9X, because I don't really check the Stitcher reviews as often as I should. It was Jurassic Park was developed by Ocean Software, and it was published by Ocean Software for the Super Nintendo.
Yay.
Earliest known release date is October 1st, 1993 in the UK, which fans of the show will know stands for United Kingdom.
But maybe not for much longer, actually.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Barely.
Let's not get into politics, right? Associate politics.
We're not going to, but I would like to say,
just leave.
Generally, when a game comes out in the UK first, that is immediately not the best sign. I mean, there's just...
Oh, well...
Based on an American gross-selling blockbuster, no less.
Well, let's be honest. Britain has always been... I don't want to say apologist, but some retro gaming enthusiasts have a more forgiving opinion about them than people from the US might.
I think that is fair, and I really try hard not to dump on Euro PC games from this period just because I didn't play them. You know what I mean? But Jurassic Park is one of those games that I did play when it came out, when it was new, because, oh my God, Jurassic Park, gotta play it. I love everything about this. It's got dinosaurs and it's got parks, and I love those two things.
What a franchise.
It really was. Like, the weird thing about Jurassic Park is that it's a thing that, like, obviously you got to make games for this, but all the best Jurassic Park games came out after the original Jurassic Park game, because everybody's like, oh, we got to do better than that, and everybody kind of had their own answer to, like, what's a better Jurassic Park game than this. It's a top-down action adventure type game, vaguely Zelda-esque. I'd say it's more vaguely Secret of Evermore-esque, but it's not even that good.
It's a pretty small world. Like, when you picture, like, Link to the Past, you picture like quite a big world. Whereas this one, it might be quite substantial in size, but it feels really small because all of the characters and all the scale's really, like, the character's huge, the dinosaurs are pretty huge, the level chunks are quite big, so it feels really kind of almost claustrophobic despite the fact that it's big.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of...
Weapons suck.
I think it sort of dupes you into thinking it's bigger than it really is, just because you'll die a lot. And unlike Zelda, you actually have limited fucking continues in this piece of shit.
The thing is, the big...
Well, we slipped up and revealed how we feel about this game.
Oops. I'm sorry, go ahead, Bob.
One thing, this game gives, like, no direction, and that's...
Actually, I consider it gives you less than no direction, because this is the game where the character points and starts looking in the wrong direction. If you follow where the character is aiming at, if you just hold down, you will pretty much get immediately murdered by 2 velociraptors, and then you'll just die.
Which is
you
what
have to actually.
Like,
I did that like 3 times.
Yeah,
I wasted about 40 minutes just going south. I'm like, what the hell is the problem? Like,
I
can't do
that
anything.
Is this I emulated this game? I don't own it, and I was just like, is this the emulator doing this? Is this, like, just wrong?
Here's the thing.
I tried 3 different controllers. It's no joke. Like, I really did. Like.
Here's the thing. I was initially going to stand up for this one before I went on this episode, because I too grew up playing it. I can't remember if I've actually seen the film before I played the game, but it was just one of those games I ended up with somehow, and I thought its premise was at least interesting, but it was way too difficult. Even then, I felt.
Really?
But no,
I think there was some kind of promise in the Jurassic Park premise. Tell me more.
Just that it was...
Joking. Everybody knew exactly what was great about this. It's like it was a super popular movie that everybody went... It was like a Billy and the Clonosaurus type joke there.
Oh, darn it.
Yeah, like even this game gets, like, the core elements are in this game. To not be too unfair to this game. You play as Grant. You have an electric laser beam gun, which was obviously one of the coolest parts of the movie. Yeah, like it's a cattle prod, but every game that has it makes it like a electricity beam laser gun. Like every single game does this, so I'm fine with that. And there's a bunch of dinosaurs. They're pretty well graphically realized. They're nice and big, and they look good. The music is foreboding as shit. Like, oh my god, it's like
the music.
Unnerving.
The music's my favorite part. Ocean's like main composer, I think, Jonathan Dunn. He was often the best part of Ocean's not very good otherwise catalog.
Yeah. I don't think of it too fondly, but I do think of it as better than most of its peers at that time.
Like most licensed games or Ocean games?
Better than US Gold, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, or
better than LJN. We could say that, right?
Here's the thing.
Main credit I can give this game is that it kind of, it's not good, but it kind of delivers on its vague, like, promise. You get dinosaurs and stuff, you shoot them. You get to get first-person segments, which are terrible, but they exist, and it's pretty solid to see, I guess, on the SNES that it has that nice first-person-y modes, even though it's... Well, I played one of them, and I forgot to get the night vision goggles, because I don't know where they are, and then I entered an area and die instantly.
I was never able to find them either. I did want to say something, though. This is still one of Ocean's better games on the whole, and yet it is still kind of a mess. It's more well put together than most of their other sloppy games. Like, it tries to be competent, but, like, you know, a little more direction, a little more ease of use instead of just dropping you into this dinosaur-filled hell pit. It would be like I just think that it feels like one of those games that doesn't want you to win it. And it's like, why even make a game if it doesn't want to be beaten in the first place?
Well, a big problem with it is that it feels like it's quite ambitious in terms of a lot of stuff in it. It's pretty ambitious. The problem is, instead of merely being bad, it's ambitious and bad, and that's not a good combination.
Right.
There's one thing I should bring up. This game kind of does something a lot of British games seem to try to go for, where they'll like have multiple different types of play to kind of compensate for the fact that none of the games it tries to be are very great. Like, most of the game is this overhead action-adventure kind of thing, and we've got any problems with that, but part of the game is an FPS, and given it's a FPS and SNES without a Super FX chip, it doesn't work very well.
It works better than I think it actually works, which was surprising to me. It's supposed to have strafe buttons, but they seem to rotate the camera, so that's kind of useless, I think. But they tried, is what I'm going to give them on that. The level design seems horrible, like not good at all. There's no real sense of direction. It's just like a big maze that's a bunch of other big mazes, and you're supposed to go to one specific part of one specific maze to get the item you need to go to another part. So whereas, Link to the Past, it feels like a very, like, you explore a little bit, and then you go, I probably have to go there, and that's where you're supposed to go. And then you get the item, and you're like, oh, that unlocks there. And it's very clear and constantly kind of assures you, yep, you're going the right way. Whereas this game, it just pops up, full screen text, hey, there's a dinosaur here, watch out, it'll eat your face! And then it does, and you're like, wow, that was really
good.
Mr. DNA. Is there Mr. DNA in the SNES version?
That's another thing about this game I hate. It constantly gives you tips you've already seen. It blocks everything. You can't see where the things that are trying to kill you are because some stupid kid is telling you the things are spitting at you. Thank you, I noticed.
It's great because they spit at you and they reverse your controls and they damage you. Oh, and raptors spawn out of nowhere. You can't see them. They just appear. It's like, okay, this is where a raptor spawns, and it just jumps out. Or a rock falls down, and it just instantly kills you. And it always sends you back to the center of the map, I think. Like, there's no... you die, you go back to the center. So no matter where you go, if you go through a whole maze, and you're about to collect the egg, which is your goal in this game, to collect eggs, because that's what Grant did.
For no reason.
Remember Grant?
No,
remember how he wanted to steal the eggs, and that was his goal in the movie?
No.
That's the
First
thing.
Of all,
it's like
the problem with any Jurassic Park game is you did not get to control Jeff Goldblum, which is the point of
That
the
is
game.
a total waste. I mean, no offense to Sam Neill, but you're not Jeff Goldblum.
No.
We want to play Jeff Goldblum.
I want to be Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
I also want to point out that Jurassic Park, also no game lets you like vindicate the lawyer who got eaten off the toilet by the T-Rex. I feel really like
It doesn't really use many digitized shots from the movie or anything. It's just kind of like just random stuff is just going on.
the best Jurassic Park game of this time period, was for the Sega Genesis. It was the Jurassic Park Rampage Edition, which should be called Jurassic Park: The Apology for the first Jurassic Park game. And because the game is like, oh, you want to play a Jurassic Park game? What you want to do is be a dinosaur.
The dinosaur mode was great.
Stupid ass humans. That's what everybody wants to do when you play this game. It's like, this is like the genius of like the Jaws PS2 game. It's like, what you really want to do is you want to be Jaws, right? Exactly. Nobody wants to be Richard Dreyfuss, okay? It doesn't matter how great Richard Dreyfuss is. Nobody wants to play a game where I'm Richard Dreyfuss. You want to be Jaws. You want to be Jaws. You want to be a dinosaur in a Jurassic Park game. That is the point of the game.
Yeah, that's why
it's not quite the same time period, but the one where you actually run Jurassic Park is another interesting idea, because at least you're like, yeah, I get to run Jurassic Park. That sounds fun.
Speaking of good ideas didn't work out, does anyone remember Warpath?
Can't say I do.
Right, yeah, you play as dinosaurs and you fight each other, and it's completely out of scale.
Jurassic Park game Warpath. And that game was just basically like a broke-ass Primal Rage, more or less.
Pretty much.
Jurassic Park didn't do great with a lot of its games. Fortunately, it didn't do great with this one either.
Yeah, there are 2, maybe 3 good Jurassic Park games.
Yeah.
Rampage Edition is the first one. That's good. Although I do like how the NES game, like you go to these like computer kiosks and there's Mr. DNA all over them. I mean, your blood.
That was pretty nice. The Lost World arcade shooter that Sega made, that one's quite fun.
That's okay. That's true. Yeah. That's okay.
It's a light gun game. They're going to be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It almost doesn't count. And then and Dino Crisis also can't technically count, I think.
It's a good game, though.
Yeah, it's a good game.
That's one I'm sad I missed out on.
I would say like the Trespasser is a...
Trespasser is kind of like it's a lot like this game in that it was very ambitious, but whereas that game kind of collapsed under it being like so ambitious it was never going to work. This game collapsed because they just did not have the competency to make the game. Like
Trespasser, you should still play because it's fascinating. This game, maybe not. And then
you should definitely put up this game so you can understand that your initial threat is you'll just die because the game screws you over immediately, and that you'll probably electrocute yourself on a fence. Like that's the next step in this game is electrocute yourself.
I do want to throw out there though that although everybody like crapped all over the Telltale Jurassic Park game, like it is exactly like The Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us and Batman and every other game that people. It is
Why
the
did they
same
not like
thing.
that? What did people have against that game? I never played it.
It's just
People didn't like it. People didn't like it because it wasn't a popular enough license, but it is basically the same kind of game. Especially
as we just established, you don't play as the dinosaur in that, so nobody liked it. You know,
right?
If you was the dinosaur and you had to make like choices as the dinosaur, that would have, it'd be like, do you eat the humans in the kitchen? Do you eat the humans in the power station? Oh man, so many choices. Let's go.
It really should have been like a Jurassic Park corporate counsel, and you should have been the lawyer. You should have been like, you know what? I think this might be a bad idea. We're opening ourselves up to some huge liability issues. And oh my God, Tyrannosaurus Rex! Oh shit!
The T-Rex. Wait, guys.
It's like
the
T-Rex. It's like a Papers, Please game where you have to like sign the legal documentation to get into the park, and it's like 3,000 pages long.
What you're doing is like you're like the contract lawyer who's like been hired fresh out of law school, like go over everybody's like ticket purchase agreements, like you're coming to like Costa Rica, like oh man, that would be great.
No, like let's
where do we put this?
Yeah, let's put this game. Like, okay, I'm gonna say, and this is what I think, is the only reason I think people liked this game. I'm pretty sure this was a game that when you would have played it, you probably somehow you would have gotten a guide. Like, there would have been an SNES thing in like a book or a magazine or whatever, it would say
Nintendo Power probably had something like that, I bet.
Yeah, like this is where the items are, this is where you have to go, this is where, like, so that you would have direction. Because if you had clear direction, this game wouldn't be good, but I could see how you could trick yourself into liking it. Only just mentioning that before we get into ranking, not to make it a higher rank, just like I'm just gonna cut that off immediately. Like,
no Jeff Goldblum in leather pants.
But I do think his face appears in some of the dinosaur tips. I think you get a little tiny Jeff Goldblum.
It's me, Jeff Goldblum, and I'm in leather pants. Leather pants.
I should have fixed that to add the thing. Like, you know, I'm really putting this in the Jones zone. Like, I can't put it any higher than that. Like,
that might be a little. I don't know. That might be a little.
The game starts you out, Satanga. The game starts you out pointing your face in the opposite direction that you need to go. I played this game for almost an hour before I figured out that I needed to actually go up.
And also the weapon sucks. Like, you get your laser beam electrocution gun, and it doesn't work because the raptors just keep coming at you. It's like you actually are the characters from the start of the movie, where you're like, "Help! It's not working."
Hang on.
Shotgun missile.
Yeah, but you barely get any ammo for them, so it doesn't really help you much.
No, and the shotgun's crap. It's the other guns do anything.
Yes.
I'll be honest. I was going to place it between Sewer Shark and Bill Lane Beer, but you guys sound like you want to drag it even lower.
I mean, can you justify okay, look, okay, so Bill Lane Beer
that because I don't want to talk about this for another second.
Okay.
Because at least some of those games had an interesting idea. This game took like the greatest license ever, dinosaurs and shit, and they made a garbage game out of it, like an absolute travesty.
But Sewer Shark is, I mean, the name alone. But then again, Bill Lambier at Combat Basketball. I mean, the name alone, Bill Lambier is Combat Basketball, like Jurassic Park,
Super Kid. Nintendo. I'll handle that, but I'm not I wouldn't go any higher.
Okay, let's do that.
Wait, you mean
no.
Below Bill
Lambier Combat Basketball,
above Wall Street Kid.
Above
okay,
Wall Street Kid.
I will concede with this. That's good. That's good for a bad.